Show with your host, Master Certified Coach Christopher McAuliffe.
Well, we're delighted to have our next guest with us, and I should let you know that we have a guest co-host today. That is Laura Cabral Fink, and you can find her on Instagram, which all the kids are doing, at Laura, that's L-A-U-R-A, Cabral, C-A-B-R-A-L, Fink, F-I-N-K. And follow her there, but also reach out to her because she's an extraordinary coach in the greater tri-state area, meaning the wilds of New Jersey. Say hello, Laura.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Christopher.
Thank you for being with us today. And our next guest is a PCC and an MPMC. I know that, Laura, one of the things that we're aware of is that perhaps the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing, a hugely growing area of coaching lately is medical coaching. And I, for one, don't know that much about it. So Shiri Ben Arzi is a medical coach, master trainer, a coaching supervisor, a workshop facilitator. Also among her credentials are NLP master practitioner. So she may have already got us in her Svengali-like power and an international lecturer on the subject. She's the founder and co-CEO of MCI, Medical Coaching Institute, and is, as I said, a medical coaching master trainer. We're delighted to welcome her to our microphone. She's also a member of the ICF Ireland chapter and has received the Medical Coach of the Year award in 2016. Hello, Shiri.
Hello, both of you. It's a pleasure to be
Shiri.
here. Thank you.
Thanks for being
Nice
had.
to meet you.
Shiri, look around outside. Where do you find yourself today?
I am in the outskirts of Tel Aviv, Israel, and it's a really, really hot day today.
I believe you. And how is it that you're an Irish member of the how does that whole work? Where do you live? Where's your home base? What do you do?
Well, my home base is in Israel at the moment, and I've been a member of the ICF for many, many years. And about 2 years ago, the Irish chapter, we really welcomed both myself and my students and MCI as a whole with such a warm embrace and such a nurturing and loving attitude that I decided to become a member. So I'm still active in coaching organizations in Israel, but at the moment I'm a member of, and proud to be a member of the ICF Irish chapter.
Truly a global citizen. All right.
Yeah.
Laura, what questions do you have about medical coaching?
I would just love to learn more about it. What is it?
Well, medical coaching, first of all, is coaching. And it's a process which enables our clients to help, well, it's a process that enables us to help our clients develop emotional and mental resilience skills in a medical crisis, which can be acute or chronic, or a challenge. So different clients will define it in different ways. Some people say, this is a medical challenge, I'm not sick. And some clients will say, well, this is an illness, it's a chronic illness, it is what it is. So however the client chooses to define this.
All right. So one of the things that I'm aware of, I'm so sorry about the sound effects today. One of the things I'm aware of is that in any medical issue, there are often people who are not directly the patient who are intimately involved and deeply affected by it. In other words, there's family members, there are caregivers, there's spouses and business associates and like that. Is medical coaching something that reaches to them, or are we talking mostly about coaching just an identified patient?
Well, medical coaching reaches to everybody that feels affected. And in medical coaching, we say, well, we're not the only ones. Let's say that an illness happens to a family, not just to a person, or a medical crisis happens to a family. There's a ripple effect. It affects the relationship with the spouse and the way you parent and your relationship with your friends and your work. And this week is International Nursing Week, Nurses a Week, and we have a lot of clients that are actually nurses that come to get medical coaching because they suffer from chronic fatigue and chronic stress and compassion fatigue, and they are affected as well. They are caregivers, just like family caregivers.
Wow. So so the coaching can extend to these people as well. What is the differentiation from, say, regular life coaching training? What additional skills do you have? Is it an entirely different skill set that you're using?
Well, in order to be a medical coach, you have to be a life coach first.
Ah.
So it's an advanced training, and it adds an additional set of skills. So the medical coaching approach is a process-oriented model and not a goal-oriented model. So we don't ask the client, what is your desired outcome today? We look long-term. What is your vision of health? Who do you want to be beyond the circumstances of this crisis or illness? And there's certain things that are unique of this type of coaching. And the first thing is that our clients don't choose to go on this journey. You know how in life coaching we have clients and they really, really want this change? You know, they want to get there, and then they come to us because they want us to help them to get there. With medical coaching, our clients don't want to go on that journey. The journey chose them. They would rather not have to deal with it at all or not have to go on that journey.
Right.
So it's a different kind of energy. They come to us with this thing that invaded their lives, and then they say, okay, so help me. And then we ask, okay, client, so what do you want? And they say, I don't know. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to die. I don't want to be in pain. They can usually articulate what they don't want, which means we need additional skills and tools to kind of take all of that, which comes bundled up with a lot of emotions, and extract a coachable goal out of it.
That's really, yeah, I'm aware now of the amount of emotion involved. Laura, what questions do you have about this sort of ripple effect of medical coaching?
Well, first of all, I want to say that that's so powerful to give people that are suffering in whatever chronic pain or issue or illness or disease a choice, is what I'm hearing. A choice of how they will move forward. A choice in their vision. And it resonates a lot with the life coaching. That's why now I'm seeing the connection with, you still have to be the life coach as a basis, because that's really what we do. We give people more choices than what they think they have.
Yeah, and we expand the awareness, and we bring in a lot of perspectives, and in order to, you know, to kind of support this slow and quiet revolution in the medical field that is going towards a more patient-centered medicine, we come from our side and basically help our client realize what it means for them as a patient to show up in the space, make requests, bring, you know, honor their values, make choices, and also look at health not just as the opposite of illness, but as a state of mind, as a state of being.
So it's more education as well.
It's education, it's awareness. The education is more around awareness about what's possible for you and what would you like, and how does this resonate, and how is this aligned with everything else in your life, and what can you take from your life before this illness crisis that can apply now. There's a need to create a new normal. There's a need to look at the story about who I am, who was I, and who am I now. Am I a completely different person? Usually not. So
I think that when I think about this, one of the things that I'm most aware of, I've had the privilege of coaching some people, and as often happens when people are at an advanced stage of their career, they often are surprised with a diagnosis. And one of the first questions I have asked, and this is maybe telling too much from my side of the street, is when, you know, a C-suite executive comes to me and says, listen, I went to the doctor and I got bad news. My first coaching question is, okay, I'm going to ask you to choose now. Live or die? And they're often taken aback. Is that too rude of a question? You know, how dare you? That sort of thing. But fundamentally, I'm intending in that question to sort of put them at choice for what happens next and to focus that vision. In your opinion, is that too abrupt? Is there some way that you sort of presence the same fundamental question with a little more politesse or tact?
Well, I I reframe it in a different way, and there's a question I ask before that. Actually, two. The first is asking, so what does that mean for you? And the same diagnosis will mean different things for different clients. And the second question is, what do you want? And again, for the same diagnosis, same medical condition, you will get different answers from different questions, from different clients. And I guess the question of live or die, when you put it like that, sometimes for people it's survive versus die. It's win the fight versus lose the fight. The polarity here can be too extreme, and some people are just, they don't know yet. They want to find that place in between. So the perspective I usually kind of offer is around being alive, okay, which is a survival, staying alive, or living. And living has to do with the fulfillment.
Beautiful.
And medical coaching also works with end of life issues. And we still ask there, whether it's 2 years, 2 weeks, or 2 days. Do you want to stay alive for this period of time, or do you want to live? What does that mean for you?
Beautiful. Thank you.
I love that too. And it's different from hospice care. Hospice is getting ready to die. And I see an opportunity here to choosing how you want to have the end of life discussion.
Yeah.
So much
and
more
how you want to live until you die. So the choice here, you're so right. The element of choice here is so powerful, and this is exactly what differentiates this from hospice.
Beautiful. Laura and I have a colleague and a dear friend who has recently, and completely unfairly, she's a beautiful young woman literally in the prime of her life, I think 20-something, and she's just been given a diagnosis that is I think a lifelong condition that requires a lot of attention and will be degenerative over time. What recommendations do you have when you encounter this sort of situation? How I guess selfishly I want to know how we can best support this person, but also I imagine you run into this quite a bit, right? The lifelong diagnosis, the long-term chronic illness, and how is that distinct from what we're talking about, which is more like sort of end-of-life issues?
Yeah. Well, I guess with chronic illnesses, the challenges are different, and the drama is different, and what we have here is a few more elements that usually we don't have, or we have in a different way in end-of-life issues or acute conditions. Like acute condition can be, God forbid, a heart attack or car accident or injury. It's relatively short-term, and there's a deadline to it, when you're stepping out. Here, it's a different challenge because the element of loss is different. In a way, I have lost the person I was before the diagnosis, and I need to take time to learn who I am. And this is on many levels. There are some dreams that I won't be able to fulfill, and I need to look into new ones. There's a change in terms of my abilities. Some of the abilities are lost. There's this new bunch of people, the medical team, they're a part of my life. And you know what? Sometimes these are people I wouldn't have a cup of coffee with. And they just parachuted into my life, and they're dealing with me, and they're touching me, and and I need to get intimate with them. It's not easy. And there's a power shift. If I'm in a relationship with a spouse, all of a sudden I am more in need of help. So what does that mean in terms of the relationship? Does my spouse need to be my nurse now? What happens in terms of parenting? What about work? What happens if I can't carry the same load that I did until now?
Right.
How do I identify? So there's a need to take the time and reassess and understand what is the new normal. Now, with a debilitating illness, sometimes this new normal changes all the time as you lose abilities. For instance, in an illness like MS, okay, or other illnesses that the body keeps changing. So there's an ongoing element of loss. There's a need to do to get some crisis management skills. What do I do in case of pain? How do I learn to identify the symptoms in my body? there's a question of adherence, and adherence is completely different than compliance, two completely different approaches. So I would say that, first of all, I always take a sabbatical. Take a sabbatical to get to know life and get to know yourself. Okay, take some time off. And the first thing is to identify what you need and what you want. Need is about survival. It's about staying alive. Want is about living. What do I need in order to thrive? And through that, we start looking at relationship and we start looking at, boundaries, which are very important, and requests. So as her friends, I would say encourage her to tell you what she needs. Don't assume, because she is learning that. So just be supportive and be very, very patient.
Beautiful.
And keep asking, what do you need?
Beautiful. Laura, what questions do you have around the training involved in becoming a medical coach and maybe some of the pitfalls?
Yeah, I would really love to learn about the training, because I heard in your response where I would have stopped as a life coach with her and where you could pick up. And it's a clear picture. So I'd love to learn about the training, and I'd also love to learn of how well it's accepted in the medical world. The medical world is not always so quick to accept different models, especially in the States.
Yeah. Okay, so let me start. What should I start with, the training or with the medical field?
The training.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm so excited. I'm asking so many questions.
So this training is open for two groups of students. It's mostly open for coaches. If you want to be an accredited medical coach, you need to be a life coach before. And I believe that the world doesn't need another basic training. There are fabulous, amazing, wonderful schools out there. So that's why I'm not teaching the basic coaching.
Clear.
There are some prerequisites. You have to be a practicing coach at least a year. You have to be over the age of 35, sorry, over the age of 30. There's something around experiencing life and maturity, and I have respect for all the amazing coaches that are younger than 30. No disrespect here, but this is a field for brave coaches. There's a lot of intensity going on because of the emotions and because of the content. So the training is an advanced training, and it's 15 lessons. Most of our program, the majority of our program now is online. So it's 15 lessons. You get it in video, and you get a mentor that takes step by step with you, and there's a community that you practice with. So there's a lot of homework. There's a lot of investment in terms of time. So everything that you learn in theory and in practice, you have to try on yourself. You have to be a client to experience it. And you also have to work with it as a coach. And you have to work with another student. So don't practice on existing clients. That's not fair. And after that first part of the training is done, we have an additional code of ethics, which is an appendix to the ICF Code of Ethics, because there's certain issues that we come across, ethical issues, that life coaches and executive coaches don't come across.
Beautiful.
One of them is the issue of medical information. Okay, we are sometimes exposed to information that is protected by privilege, but we can also only offer confidentiality. What do you do with that? After that, you go into an internship. And the internship is 30 coaching hours, between 2 to 5 coaching with a supervisor. And then if you complete both parts, you become an accredited medical coach.
Beautiful. And the website is medical-coaching-institute.com.
Yes.
And is it something you can join any time, or do programs start at certain times through the year?
Well, we have both. If you want to learn with a group, you can wait for a program. But what we say, don't wait for a group. Just join, and you'll get a mentor. There's a strong community that will wrap you, hug you. And if you feel this is your calling and this is your passion, just come on board. We do have another program which is called the Medical Coaching Learning Community, which is open. It's an international program once a month that we do with ICF Ireland. And these are once a month webinars with amazing coaches from all walks of life. And in this on this platform, the members are mostly coaches, but also healthcare providers. And everybody that's interested in this field, and they don't know if they want to fully commit to a full training, but they're curious about this, just join. So you'll find all the details on our website. And for every webinar, you get CCUs from ICF Ireland, so that's cool.
Wonderful. And I want to admit something here now publicly, that Laura knows that I will join that call just to hear the Irish accents. I will. I'll be on there. I'll get the CCEUs, but I'll be there for the accents. All right.
You'll get a lot of that.
And all of that information, again, is on the website, which is medical-coaching-institute.com. We've got about 4 minutes. I want to make sure that we get some fair representation here. Laura, do you have a direction you want to go?
I do want to know how well it's accepted in the medical world, or is it accepted?
Well, it is accepted, but in different ways. It really depends on the culture. So, for instance, in Argentina, we have a lot of support from endocrinologists working with diabetes. In Israel, we get a lot of support from nurses and GPs. In England, we have a group of 5 coaches working inside an oncology ward in a hospital outside London. And we have and we had coaches working in a clinic in Istanbul, an oncology clinic in Istanbul. The thing is that, we are very clear about what we do and where our place is. The first circle of support is the medical team. And only after that comes the medical coach. And we address the rehabilitation, the emotional and mental rehabilitation. And what we find is that slowly we have more and more healthcare providers coming to receive medical coaching, and we have more and more medical providers, doctors and nurses, referring clients worldwide into medical coaching. We have a lot of our coaches, we have over 300 coaches around the world today. Many of them are collaborating with clinics and doctors and healthcare providers.
Totally. I can really see it. This is honestly the first time that I've heard about this, and it's fascinating. Okay, one more question about the training. Does the training do you need to know medical issues?
Not at all. Not at all. Because you're not there in a medical capacity. So you don't need to know about the diagnosis. What you need to ask the client is, what does it mean for you? So we don't need to be doctors. We do, however, have a growing group of doctors that have studied coaching in order to become medical coaches. We have one doctor in Turkey that completed a training last week, and she went to study basic coaching just to get to this training. I think it's more challenging for them because they need to find a way to take off the medicine hat and put on the coaching hat. So it's a bit more challenging for them, but you don't need to be a doctor, and you don't need previous knowledge in medicine, because that's not what we do.
Beautiful.
Got it.
Our time has flown by. We're down to about a minute left, and I want to give that minute to you. Shiri Ben Arzi, Shiri Ben Arzi, what would you like to leave 25 or 30,000 coaches with today? What's a parting thought or a parting shot you'd like to give us?
Wow. I would really, what I'd like to say is that this is not a unique niche as it seems. If you think about it, you know more sick people than you do, let's say, executives. And I think that this is something that helps us coaches make the world a better place. And it is truly a calling. So if you're interested, if this resonates, check us out.
Beautiful.
And
yes?
No, that's it. I was just going to say, drop me a line. You'll find me on the website.
Again, the website is medical-coaching-institute. We thank you so much for the important work that you're doing in the world and for being with us today. I also want to...
having me. Thank you so much.
It's a privilege. Thanks for making it work from where you are.
Thanks, Shiri.
And of course, Laura, you can find out more by going to Instagram and check out Laura Cabral, C-A-B-R-A-L, Fink, F-I-N-K. And me, my name's Christopher McAuliffe. I will be with you here each and every week, bringing you people out on the cutting edge of coaching, things you need to know, and things that are just plain interesting. You're listening to The Coaching Show here on WSRadio.com and wherever fine podcasts are available. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
Your search for the right office furniture will be done when you walk into Shore for sure. In our 46,000 square foot warehouse, you are sure to find the right new or used desk and chair for your home and office. Trusted for over 40 years.